And we're live, everybody. Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto. We're going to be doing a 1-hour stream today. And so this is going to be your questions and answers, as well as checking out auction picks for you guys. Any of the cars that you like to see at the current auctions right now, we can take a look at for you. Look at the link down here. Whoa, not that. There's a link down here, auction.pacificcoastjdm.com, and then you can pick your picks and send them to me, and we're going to talk about them. I can do my price guesses. We're going to get into right away here the picks from last week. I'm going to show you the sold prices for those, and then we'll get into questions and your guys' picks. I don't have Mike here right now. He went off to a vehicle drop off in our lot. It is a Toyota BB that we're getting for a customer in Canada. Kind of cool to get a BB because we drive one of those for our company car. And we have no bids until the end of this stream, and so that's nice for us. We can just relax, we can take it easy and answer the questions, hangout time, whatever you guys want to do. And so we've got a lot of comments in there already. That's pretty crazy. Hi everybody that's on there. I'll say hi to everyone in just a quick second here, but yeah, man, early in the morning, it's been a difficult day for me already. I woke up with my son showing me his pool of vomit on the bed next to everybody. And so he's sick at home with my wife, who's taking the morning off from work, and then she is going to switch with Naoko in the office to look after her company. And then she's going to stay at home for that because the afternoon she can't take off like she can in the morning. And then I'm going to be off at 5 o'clock today to go hang out with my sick little boy. So it's kind of an early morning. I need to stretch a little bit. I need to get ready for this and get warmed up. And so we shall now go into the first segment, which is checking last week's picks. There was only 4 of them, so let's have a look. First one here is a Lotus Esprit. I think I guessed much lower price. This one here sold for 3.325 million yen. You know, it would be really cool to have some sort of a currency converter. Unfortunately, I don't have that here. But I think at the current exchange rate, that's somewhere around $30,000 for this. I don't know what Esprits are worth, really. This is the turbocharged 4-cylinder version. Condition seems to be okay, but like I said in the last one, these are problematic cars from the get-go. So, you know, beautiful and problematic. Is that a fair price? I don't know. I mean, oh, one unsold. So the seller wanted more than 3.325. On the next one here, an Integra Type R, one of my favorite cars. This is the car that proves to all the haters that front-wheel drive is still something that can be fun. A really super fun car to drive, and then this one being the 4-door is going to be priced a little bit less, but being a 1998 or later, it's going to be a little bit more expensive because of that. Sold, 1.26 million for that. That's a pretty high, that's a really high price for one of these, but then again, only 60,000 kilometers. Body is decent, but not 1.2 million worth. This is just over $10,000 purchase price. Of course, there would be other fees and shipping and everything on top of that. So I would call this not a good deal. But if you're the seller, it's a good deal. Okay, what do we got next? 2.645, so 23. I can't really do math. $23,000 for this is a Tommy Mackinnon version of the Evo 6. Again, another super amazing car. You know, all the cars from the 90s are going to be considered super amazing. All the JDM cars from the 90s. Yeah. Well, let's take a look at the sheet. Unknown mileage. See, unknown mileage at 2.6. That's rough. Super rough, in my opinion. Not rough as is rough condition. I just think that price is pretty insane. But these Tommy Mackinnons are crazy. They're going the way of the 22B. They're getting too expensive. I don't know how many they made, but it wasn't super low like the 22Bs. I'm thinking it's like a couple thousand or something. Tommy Mackinnon Evo 6 production numbers. 726 of the RS model, but the RS was the rare one, and 6,868. Is that right? No, that's including the Tommy Mackinnon edition. I don't know. Ooh, 2,500 TMEs. Still, 2,500 is pretty low for considering everybody in the world wants to have one. Okay, on to the next one. This one here sold for 621,000 yen, so that's $5,800 or so. Seems to be pretty expensive for one of these cars. What do we got in terms of condition? Really low mileage. It comes with a 2.2 liter. This one's a diesel engine, 2.2 liter diesel. I don't know if I prefer that engine. We haven't sold too many of the 2.2. Most of them have been 2 liters, and I'm not overly impressed by the 2 liter diesel engine in these. 2.2 might be better, but I don't really know. Has a really gorgeous looking front bumper kit on there. And then this one, Town Ace Wagon would be, you know, there's Town Ace Wagon, Light Ace Wagon, and Master Ace, and they're all kind of the similar type of van. Crystal Roof. Is that right? Nope. Extra Field Tourer. Whatever that means. But it's 4-wheel drive diesel minivan. It's cool. I can see why somebody paid that much. To me, that would seem too high. I think, like, you know, this one sold for $621. I think that probably a decent price for this would have been around $450. It is good. $621 seems high, especially if you're trying to make some profit off of that one. Okay, so that was all the picks from last week. I guess only 4 of them. So we got a couple of good questions in here. Typically the way that it works is Mike's side by side with me. We're giving each other high fives behind the camera, and he writes down all of the questions and the auction picks. And if you want to send in a question, that's easy. You just ask the question. If you want to send in an auction pick, then you have to send us the auction number. So for example, if you wanted to send in this one, you would have to send us the name of the auction and the auction number and the type of vehicle that it is, and then put that into the chat, and then we'll take a look at that if we've got time for that. We want you to put in the name of the car because we want to be able to know what we're picking. And so, you know, usually Mike would give me a choice, like, do you want to look at a Ferrari or do you want to look at a Ford Pinto? And in that case, I'd probably pick the Ford Pinto. And the only thing is USS, a lot of you people know this, but I have to say it every time, the USS auctions, they don't allow us to share any of the data on here, so don't send in any USS auctions. You see this one here is MyRive, this one is TAA, this one, another MyRive. Zip Osaka is quite an interesting auction, actually, this Zip Osaka. Lots of cool cars there. And so send in the car picks that you want, and I'm gonna get Mike to repeat to me some of these questions at the beginning. And there's Mike. Can you see him? Mike, you're invisible.
Invisible?
There he is! Oh, he's famous! You're on YouTube. It's basically like being on TV.
I'm a millionaire.
Hey, just because you're famous doesn't mean you're a millionaire.
Oh.
Look at me, I'm pretty famous.
Yeah.
Naoko's the most famous of all. She's elusive, and that's what makes people want to know more about her.
Yeah.
You may be able to hear her laughing away over there. Oh, hey, can we close the window?
Yes.
It's a little bit noisy. Thank you. And put on some Christmas music.
You bet.
And then come sit down and track my questions. I'll go over the top one because I think it was a good one. Alex Villas, I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name. Patiently waiting to see what hidden treasures you guys find. Also, I bought a 1989 Honda Prelude SI 4-wheel steering today at a super hype, at a deal super hype about it. That's pretty cool. 1989's Prelude SI is a good car. I think it's a car that a lot of people aren't giving enough credit because Honda people seem to like their Civics and their Integras more than their Preludes. I like the Preludes. I like them all, but I also like the Preludes. The good question, pardon me, that wasn't the one, but I did want to mention that. Dave Goodman, I'm looking for European cars like diesel Mercedes-Benz 320 with a standard transmission. And I've only seen autos for the Benz. Audi R4, RS4 estate wagon stick. How much do you think these cars normally go for? Okay, so 2 questions there. Yeah, Japan doesn't like their manual transmissions mixed with Mercedes-Benz. like at all. They're almost all automatic. Very, very rare to find any manual transmission with a Mercedes-Benz. The exception to that would be the 190E, the Cosworth engined one. Still 90% of them are automatic transmissions and only 10% are manuals. You probably won't find a diesel of that with a stick shift in Japan. You're going to be looking in Europe for that. They were never sold original here with the stick shift, only automatic, and only imported. Crazy people would want to import a diesel 5-speed into Japan, considering what Japanese tastes are. They wouldn't think that that's very appealing, and so I suspect there's maybe a handful in Japan, if that, and waiting for one to come up for auction could take forever. Audi RS4 Estate Wagon stick transmission. Once again, most of those are Tiptronic transmissions. They do come with a 6-speed manual, assuming we're talking about the first generation here. I think second, third, fourth, the manual was lost in those for the Japanese market, but I'm not 100% sure on that. How much do they go for? With a manual transmission, you're looking around $2 million to $3 million, depending on the condition of that. In case you don't know RS4s, well, everybody kind of knows it, but let's see if we have any at auction right now. So we'll go to Audi, and we're going to the Rs. And the RS4 only came as a sport wagon for the first generation. Nope, none of them. But they might be listed as just the RS4, in which case they are not. And just because I like the RS models, I'm going to look at an RS6 and see if I can find that. Nope, none of them for auction right now. And you'll find maybe three RS4s per month. They're not a very common car, the first generation ones. And if you're really looking for something fun, you can get an RS2. They come up about 1 to 2 times a year. The RS2 is kind of the RS2 Audi. Yes, capital letter right in the middle. The RS2 is like the precursor of the RS4, and it was built only as a station wagon, had over 300 horsepower, partially built by Porsche. The brakes are Porsche, and I think maybe some of the engine management, but I'm not 100% sure. It's a inline 5-cylinder turbo engine and 4-wheel drive. It's cool, but really expensive. Some of them are going for like $80,000, $100,000 per really good one. Not an awful lot of really good ones are left, though. You can find them in Japan. We bought our first one of these for $1.6 million, which is $12,000, like 8 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, actually. And yeah, wow, amazing cars, but kind of at the level of car that you don't want to damage it. You don't want to drive it too much because it's a fun car, but there are funner cars. You pay for the value of the car as a package. Like, it's a cool car. It has a history to it, and that's where a lot of the value comes from. If you're really looking for driving dynamics, you would want to drive possibly a different car that costs less and has better performance than this. But wow, is it ever a cool looking and cool idea? Like the power station wagon was an Audi thing. Ooh, and a Prelude in the back. Look at that. Yeah, but nowadays they're too expensive. I think the last one that I saw went through at 3.9 or so and was in kind of so-so condition. So 3.9 million being 35,000 US dollars. Okay, so everyone welcome Mike. Say hi, Mike. I missed you so much.
Aw, thanks.
I'm glad that you're back here because it gives me a chance to breathe in between speaking. And so anytime that you hear crickets coming from me, I want you to come in.
Oh.
Flavian is in the chat. Hey Flavian, how are you? Oh, I'm an idiot. That says Flavian. I'm sorry for reading that out. Yes. We can't accept the USS ones.
You're like, yes.
Bill Courtney thinks it's a bromance, but he's only jealous.
Oh yeah.
The moist, tender area between my blank and my blank. I wonder how many subscribers that person has with a name like that. People might want to subscribe just because. And I don't think that the algorithm that usually flags spam is going to catch people's screen names with swear words in them.
Ooh. They're kind of like low-key. I don't know if low-key is the good word to use, but under the radar curse words.
Yeah, here's a recommendation for everyone. If you want to curse on YouTube, change the name of your channel to a curse word, and then you can do it all day long. The front bumper lights and the mirrors of the RS2 are from the 911 993. Wow, I did not know that, but it is totally true. Who just wrote that? Hector, you just made my day. I did not know that. Did you know that? You have to speak louder.
No, I didn't know that at all. Really? Wow.
Yeah, the mirrors are from
cool.
the 993 and these markers are.
Also, someone said they've never seen a Mitsubishi GTO on this channel, so I took it upon myself to...
Wow, that's... Thanks, Mike. Thanks.
You're welcome.
A Mitsubishi GTO. Thanks. Okay, so I haven't really gone through all of that, and so maybe you can just take notes of cars that people are interested in. But I will take a look at that GTO if you've got an auction number.
I do. It's at KMAA and it's 60165. A GTO. I need some paper.
Oh, it's even a second gen.
And it's an MR.
So Mike used to own a GTO when he lived in New Zealand.
Don't tell people my dirty secrets.
But he had to sell. Why did you end up selling it?
Like I was moving here, and also I got sick of it. I just kept having
How would you get
problems
sick of a GTO? How could you possibly get sick of one? They are so amazing. Everybody loves them too. Yeah, the GTO, also kind of known as the Dodge Stealth. In America, you can buy both of them. In Canada, you can only buy the Stealth. They came in like one generation, but kind of two versions of it with pop-up headlights and non-pop-up headlights. In that respect, kind of like an NSX, really. People like the NSX better than they like these usually, which is a little bit weird. And I think that this car kind of has the same fate as the Fairlady Z from Nissan, in that for the Fairlady there was the Skyline and there was the Fairlady, and they were both really good cars, but the Skyline takes all of the thunder from the Fairlady. A lot of people just forgot about the otherwise really good car that the Fairlady was, because the Skyline, which was sold at the same time, was competitive and better. And I'm feeling like the GTO suffers from the same thing, considering the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution is a all-around better car than the GTO. Mostly because it's lighter, it's smaller, and modification-wise, it's a heck of a lot easier than the labyrinth of an engine bay that is the GTO. Nonetheless, I still like them. I kind of like the ugly uncle cars, the ones that nobody really likes, except for the guy who buys one before he really knows about cars, and then... Yes, I am describing Mike here. He's not an uncle. You're not an uncle, are you?
Oh, no.
Because I know your brother is quite a bit older than you are.
Yeah.
That is a little bit sad. I want to start calling you Uncle Mike.
You can if you like.
I like that.
Yeah, I'll be the creepy uncle in the office.
Creepy uncle. Yeah. Hey, remember a couple of streams ago, everybody was interested in saying absolute snack.
Oh, yeah,
but then
I
last
remember.
Stream, not a single person said it, did
yeah.
they? So I want everyone to bring back the absolute snack. And so you tell me if you think that this car is an absolute snack.
Your creepy uncle in the office is an absolute...
If you're going to try to be funny, Mike, you have to be able to say the whole sentence before you start laughing at your own jokes.
It's hard being the funniest person in the room.
Like Uncle Fester. That would be really rad if Uncle Fester drove one of these. Yeah, and then they're generally pretty inexpensive. But this one starts at $880, which is really high already for GTO. So let's have a look at what we got. So I don't know, maybe Mike you can answer this. What is a twin turbo MR version?
The MR is the Mitsubishi racing version. But I'm actually not. I think it had different gear ratios. And I think they took some of the weight out. I don't know, I can have a look.
People in the chat, can you hear Mike speaking? I don't know if he's speaking loud enough because I don't have the headphones on podcast style to hear what you guys can hear. Shout out Kelowna Gang. Yeah, that's me, Kelowna Gang. I'm basically the ringleader of the Kelowna Gang. MR is Mr. like your uncle. Woo! Uncle jokes. Love it.
going to be today's theme.
Because the speakers are integrated into the webcam, and they're kind of pointed toward me, and then I'm like this far away from you guys, and then Mike's like 1.5 meters away, so you might not be able to hear him. No active wing, is that true? There's no active wing on the MR version?
I think that's correct, but for the second gen... Oh, the second gen did have the active wing, but they removed the front active arrow.
Yeah, the GTO has a rear spoiler that will tilt. Like you can push a button to tilt it, or it will do it at a certain speed, I think.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And
But
so,
I don't know if they had that on the second gen, or if it was just on the first gen. The second gen might have had just the spoiler and no front. But
Flavian says it's lighter, but it's still way too heavy, but a bit less weight. Yeah, no HICUS suspension. I don't know what that means. HICUS is a Nissan word.
yeah, I don't think they ever had HICUS. They did have four-wheel steering.
HICUS has in four-wheel steering.
Oh yeah, they removed that as well. Again, I think that a lot of things were removed from the first generation because they were just
Too
obscenely
expensive.
heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and expensive.
Too expensive for Mitsubishi to have those in the car, and unnecessarily expensive like so many of the late 80s, early 90s Japanese cars. It's almost like they had a big bucket of money and there were adult magazines at the bottom, and they were just trying to get the money out of the way to get the adult magazines.
Oh, and it came with... So, this is actually pretty interesting. It says, when the GTO MR was released, it was known to be the most powerful production car in the 90s Japanese market.
You know what?
I'm not sure how true that is, but...
When you read Wikipedia, you have to be careful, because the people who edit the GTO page on Wikipedia are like the sliver of a population of ugly uncles who are like, I want everybody else to love these cars too.
Fun fact, I wrote the GTO page on Wikipedia.
I bet you did. You're not an uncle yet, so we're going to have to put the uncle jokes aside. Okay, we've spent too much time on this. 880 seems high. I don't know how much added value you get from the MR version, but it seems like you get a little bit. The TE37 wheels are excellent, and this being, I believe, the final version. Can you confirm that?
No, there's 2 more versions.
You guys don't want to see underneath the table.
Most of them were just like body styling updates,
Right,
I think.
like bumpers and stuff.
Yeah. So my one was the next one after that, and then for the last 2 years they had the fish.
They could be Rodas with stickers. I don't think so, because Japan doesn't really rock the Rodas. Fake wheels are pretty uncommon here. Mostly because used wheels are so cheap and people go through wheels so quickly here that there's always a fresh supply of really cheap, good condition used wheels. And because of that, there isn't really a marketplace for fake wheels. Not completely 100% true, though. You can get fake wheels here, but it's not something you need to worry about in the same level as you do from the States. Okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to do next, Mike? I don't know.
I was trying to find...
I want to get this GTO off of my screen. People who drive GTOs are idiots.
I just need to delay myself here.
Okay, I'll go through a couple of things and I'll say what's up to the people who were here from the beginning. So I already said the comments from Alex Aviles. Thank you for joining us right at the beginning. David Goodman, Hunts by Chainsaw. Interesting name there. Dave Goodman again. To add to the comment on the European cars, I live in Toronto, Ontario. The cost of shipping here, and would I have to pick it up in Vancouver? Okay, so Toronto's very far away from Vancouver, but it is still ideal for you to send it to Vancouver and have it sent by train to you in Toronto than to have it sent to Halifax and sent in by train. You'll get it faster and it'll be slightly cheaper, but it is a pain in the butt, and that's part of the reason why there aren't too many imports in Toronto, is because you have to wait a lot longer and you have to pay more money to get your car compared to Vancouver or Alberta. Bill Courtney's always here. He says, Bill Courtney still has no life, so I'm back. That's painful, Bill. Painful that you think that this is something that only people with no life want to do. And
he also sent in a pretty cool truck. It's kind of bizarre.
Okay, you've won back my loyalty, Bill.
Yeah. 88007.
I will take a look at that. Someone mentioned about insurance in Ontario, and yes, it's terrible. 88007. For the most of the part. Oh, and they said insurance in Canada sucks. That's only in Ontario. I think it's only in Ontario. Ontario is very strict about it. Basically, all the insurance companies got together and they were like, let's shake hands and screw people with right-hand drive cars. If it's a left-hand drive car, it's... I see you laughing. I was
Very
not speaking
specific
literally.
people.
Yeah,
I know.
they just arrived, and within seconds they were like, "Would you like to shake my hand?
Yeah.
Would you like to screw people?" That's basically all insurance is. They use math to find out the proper way to profit the most, and this is right now in BC, my area of Canada. They're going through this thing where a lot of people are trying to get rid of the public insurance, so the government runs the only insurance that you can buy for cars, which kind of is a bad thing. But then again, private insurance is also a bad thing, and we can see that with Toronto and what's happening with them saying, no, we're not going to insure any right-hand drive cars unless you go through the same type of insurance that like serial drunk drivers do. And so you end up paying 4 to 5 times more because they have like a regulation in Ontario stating that you have to sell to people. But if the private insurance company doesn't want to sell, there is a public option, but it's only available to those people who don't otherwise qualify for insurance. So drunk drivers and right-hand drive car enthusiasts get put into that, unfortunately. Okay, who else have we got in from the beginning? House of the Rising Sun, you got a whole bunch of comments. Maybe if Mike wants to pick something out, he can. I'm not sure. Panda.
He's been very helpful.
XX Panda KXX. Mike says House of the Rising Sun was helpful. Thank you very much for that. You guys can be even more helpful than me in some cases.
Who's answering?
Anthony Waters is in. Tony Counts is in. John Clark, howdy. Alex says, hey, hope he gets better soon, in reference to my son who's sick. It was funny because we didn't hear him at all throwing up in the bed this morning. He just went, Mom, and then he's 3 years old, Mom, and pointed at the vomit because I don't think that he ever remembers throwing up ever in his life, so he was probably pretty surprised, but he was cool as a cucumber. Look, I threw up. Deal with it. And it was lucky for me because I got to go take my other son to school and left my wife there to clean up the throw up. But even if I wanted to, I couldn't. It was time to take him anyway.
Oh yeah, they're saying click on Bill's car. They're waiting in suspense.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they've got eye candy. Not that you're
Oh.
not eye candy, obviously.
What is this?
Yeah.
Are you calling me eye candy? Are you calling me an absolute snack?
Why, yes.
Okay. There actually is a GMC Typhoon up right now, so maybe somebody can send that one in. Or maybe it was yesterday, or maybe it's today. I don't know. Maybe it's USS. The Typhoon is interesting. If you don't know what it is, check it up. Check it up, check it out. Okay, so this is a Nissan hardbody. They call it a Datsun pickup. It's weird because Datsun is the name of Nissan cars a long time ago in the US and Canada and some other markets, but in Japan, Datsun is the name of their pickup truck only. So I don't know what to think of this. What do you think, Mike?
I think my immediate thing was used to cage wild animals being transported, but I don't know about the soft top.
Used to cage children on the way to school.
Oh, like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the child snatcher?
Is
like
there
a
a
modern
child
day-
snatcher?
Mm.
I've never seen that movie. One of my friends says it's her favorite movie. I've never seen it.
That child snatcher always creeped me out when I
Maybe
was
she
little.
just likes child snatchers. Maybe that's
you should be concerned
if
about
you
that
like
friend of
child
yours.
snatchers, probably. Women are often not child snatchers. I have to say that that's a very gender-specific occupation.
Snatching children.
Yeah, I don't know what to think of it. It definitely looks like something you would use to transport animals. And it's probably going to be registered as a commercial vehicle, which means 25% tax. However, because it has seats in the back, only 2-seaters are charged 25% tax. So you would petition to customs in the USA that this is actually a passenger vehicle, and they will allow you to bring that in. 5-speed manual is pretty rare. It's a 4-wheel drive. These are cool trucks. They're super dependable. It's 2.7 liter diesel. It's probably more reliable diesel than anything Toyota made in that era. It really, like 250, 300,000 miles are completely doable. Auction grade R. Pretty terrible body. Look at this. A4, U3, A4, U4, U3, A4, U4. It looks like a truck that was used in that bonus game in Street Fighter where you beat up the cars.
It's probably scratched by bears.
Maybe it was used to transport bears.
I think so.
I wonder what this is all about. This tarp piece. Do you think this can be like raised up or something?
Oh, you know when animals are like they can't see anything, they calm down? That's my guess.
Well, it's interesting. I would assume that this is a bring your animals to the slaughterhouse vehicle, and so
yes.
it's basically a murder truck. And hopefully, if that's the case, then no children were transported in it. Datsun truck. Okay. I don't know. It would be a cool truck to buy and just beat on and not care about. I don't think it would be expensive. Maybe 120,000 yen. Oh, wait, low mileage. These are really difficult to price. Something that has really low mileage like this, but then also is in really terrible body condition. I'm going to up my price guess to 220,000 yen because mileage makes a big difference. If somebody wants this for a work truck, they don't care that much about the body of it, and then are going to be the low mileage means it's going to last for a really long time, so it'll be an economical vehicle. So 220,000 seems reasonable for this, I think.
I'd like to hear what other people guess as well, what this was used for.
Okay, let's throw that out to you guys. If you think you know what this truck was used for, my guess was to bring children to slaughter.
Wow!
This is how we get customers. We just yeah. I'm watching the view count go down. Well, that's it. Derek likes slaughtering children. I'm not buying from him.
So far, the guesses have been it's a jail truck for JDM drunks, something for trapping animals, and looks like a torture chamber for picked up migrant workers. Damn.
Wow, so I wasn't too far off from the people in the chat. Hey, we're going up now. People logged in, and the first thing that they heard was executing children, and they're like, "That's that's a stream that I want to listen to." You sick people.
Used to transport bears to school. El Chapas.
Are you actually getting into live chat? I feel like mine's a little bit low.
Mine did just jump.
If it bleeds, it leads. That's true. Bill Courtney.
Paddy wagon full.
Move any Unos Roadsters lately? Starting to plan my 2019 car purchase. Yeah, we're seeing a few of them. We just bought one recently. We got another customer looking for one right now. The Japanese ones are most of the time not very different from the USA ones. And so the appeal of that car is not to get something that's uniquely Japanese, though for some people having the steering wheel on the other side of the road would definitely do that for them. But I suppose the appeal of the Roadster is that around the world it's getting hard to find them in good condition because people have found out that they're awesome cars and they handle a racetrack really well. And so Japan still has a lot of them. Lots in kind of rough condition, but they were very, very popular here. And so really easy to get good condition ones, or heavily modified ones are also very common here as well, if that's what you're into. If I come to Japan, will you guys walk me through the auctions and help me buy a car? Delage. I'm sorry, we can't do that. If we allowed people to do that, we wouldn't be able to be in business because the demand would be so high. If we take a single person to auction, the cost to our company is more than any profit that we make. And we used to do it when we weren't as busy as we are now. So lucky those people. Nowadays, we only do it for our regular customers if they come to Japan, which happens semi-frequently. And we may do it if somebody is like a potential big customer wants to come to Japan and meet us and wants to start purchasing and wants to see the auction, because then any costs that we're putting into it are going to be made up potentially by future sales. Looking over the chat here.
I do have another car if you would like.
Sure, let's have a look at another one.
Forester from JU Hokkaido, 7005.
JU Hokkaido. Ooh, a pretend STI. Ah, but this is fairly rare, this one. So the reason why I called it a pretend STI is because the official STI version of the Forester didn't come out until the next generation after this one. But they made ones called the STB STI, version 1 and version 2, this being a version 2. And they're basically just a trim package. They have the same engine, same power, and then they have a different exhaust, suspension, interior with actually some pretty cool seats, if they'll show them. You can't see it, but the seats are perforated and underneath has a white fabric that says STI all over it, but at an angle you wouldn't be able to see it. But the reason why I said this is actually pretty rare is that most of those were automatic transmissions and this one's a manual. And the manual, as far as I know, is only available in the STI 2, not the STI 1, which came out 1 year previous to this in 2000. Price-wise, you probably look to spend about an extra 10 to 15% over the regular Forester prices for the STB STI version of it. Ooh, look at that. Grass intercooler and very dusty engine room. And then the next generation uses an EJ25 engine instead of the EJ20. And they cost a lot more. So these ones are generally somewhere around 200,000 yen, so like 1,800 US dollars. And then the real STIs are like 400,000 to 600,000, so 3,500 to 5,500 or so US dollars. They're good cars. I think the Foresters are good cars. I only found out, this may be somewhat inappropriate, so I'm going to wait to see if people are going to drop out before I say what it is, or if they're going to wait for me to say it and then drop out. 64 viewers at the moment. Did you know, Mike, the Forester, and this is official, the Forester is the official lesbian car.
Oh, I think you've mentioned this to me before.
I know. I've mentioned it to everybody who ever talks about the Foresters. We get a phone call from customers and they say, "Hi, I'd like to buy a Forester," and I say, "Oh, a real live lesbian."
Boy, do I have a story for you.
I didn't know it, and there is a story to go along with it, because Subaru, back in like the 90s when the Forester was a new car, actually they started with a Legacy, but then the Forester kind of took everybody's interest about this, partially because Foresters are actually bought by lesbians at a pretty high rate if you look at the statistics. But Subaru made a commercial with a lesbian couple in the commercial that were driving a Subaru. And this was, at that time, very risque of them. And I guess Subaru is a brand that wanted to appeal to people of lifestyles. Is that the right way to say it? And so, yeah. That's a story. There you go. Good cars, though. This one, turbocharged 2-liter engine, 250 horsepower. It might actually be a little bit higher than that, 280, I think, for this year. 5-speed manual. 4-wheel drive. Basically the best winter car that you can get. Good value for money, good amount of space, they're cheap, you don't have to worry about rust and stuff like that, and you can have your sports car in the summer. You can drive one of these in your Canadian winter. Do you vape also at Bill? Bill doesn't vape, I know that. I had a conversation with my daughter about vaping today because I realized how popular vaping is in middle schools, and she's about to go into middle school.
In middle school?
Yeah. It's like 30% of middle schoolers are vaping.
What?
Yeah.
Is that...
And it's
doesn't it damage?
And it's like 40 or 50% of high schoolers.
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy?
Is that in Japan or worldwide?
This was USA.
Whoa.
But I assume Canada's very similar to USA.
Yeah. That's actually shocking.
Right?
I thought... I don't know
The
much
world
about vaping, but
is... Wow, I dumped my water.
Doesn't that affect
sealed
your lungs?
cap. Woo! I did look into it because I am afraid that she's going to start vaping. Plus, after the last stream, not the last one, a few streams ago, where I was like, people who smoke and people who vape are idiots, then I wanted to look into it because somebody was like, nah, vaping's healthy for you.
Oh, and there is an argument for that, right? Because sometimes it helps people quit smoking. And
Right.
vaping's better than smoking.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's complicated. This isn't really the right venue to be talking about this because people don't really care about vaping when they're caring about cars. But to simplify it, vaping is a lot healthier for you because you're not actually burning things, you're not inhaling any smoke, but you're still inhaling nicotine, which is a drug and has negative consequences, and you may get addicted, and that addiction may be the biggest problem with it instead of the lung cancer, which was probably the biggest problem with smoking. Okay, let's talk about other cars. Oh, wait, let's talk about this one. I think this will sell for about 220, which would be 220,000 yen, 2,000 US dollars. I think that's pretty high for a Forester, but it has a 5-speed manual and reasonably low kilometers. You probably have to change the timing belt, which is a bit of a pain on a boxer engine because your engine is like this and your timing belt is like this. Oh, underside corrosion and cracked. That'll lower the price. Let's just go over this. Seat wrinkled and wear, steering wheel shift knob worn, interior scratched and dirty, underside surface rust, corrosion and cracked, exhaust leak, body very scratches and dents, winter tires on engine room and rear floor have accident damage. It's a small accident that's been in. It says R small. Exterior D, interior C. I'm going to lower that down to 120,000 yen, so $1,000 for this one, most likely. Somewhere in there. Still a good car for the winter. Turbocharged four-wheel drive. Oh, and it's in Hokkaido. Yeah, be careful of Hokkaido cars. They're rusty up there. So rust would be an issue with this, I think. Sounds like a part-out candidate, says Sadly Quick. Sadly Quick, that's an interesting name.
Just the... There's really only one...
I'm thinking a running race here, but why would you be sad in a running race?
Yeah. Why would you be... It's like, oh, it's sad.
Let's change the subject. You got a question for me?
I have one, actually. Just a reminder that we can't do USS cars.
Right. Some people didn't catch this at the beginning of the stream because it is a long stream, but USS cars are copyright infringement, and USS is going to be like, we're taking your auction license if you show those. And we like to have our auction license because it keeps us in business. So no USS car sending in, please. I forget it sometimes. I know that it's easy to forget.
I'm just trying to find another.
You gained a view with vape topic. Woo! Love it. I love talking about vaping. Seriously, I never think about vaping except for my wife was like, one of her staff was vaping in the bathroom. And that's literally the only time I've thought about vaping.
I have a hijet. Would you like a hijet?
Hijet sounds kind of boring to me, but I'll do it quickly.
JU 7046. Is my pronunciation right?
Mie?
Mie?
M-I-E? Yeah, Mie.
Mie.
J-U Mie. I can't find it.
Oh, really?
What's the number again?
7046.
That's weird.
We can do something else.
J-U... Oh, here it is. K-trucks are very much all the same. Conditions vary, prices vary. Not really much to talk about them. Rust is an issue. This one here is an extended. See this extra window? Gives you a little bit of extra room inside, which for some people would be important. You might find that makes it a little bit more expensive. Seat rips are really common. Mileage is commonly not known because they're 5-digit odometers on most of them. I don't know if the hijet is a 5-digit odometer. I have a feeling like this year of hijet is actually a 6-digit. But you do have to be careful. Almost all of them have unknown mileage because of that. 5-speed manual. This one is a 4-wheel drive. Auction grade 3.5, interior C, exterior C. It can carry 350 kilograms. I probably wouldn't tow very much with one of these because they are kind of skittish cars to drive. And you probably don't want to go higher than 80 kilometers an hour, even if the car can go that fast, because they're light vehicles, they're tall, they catch the wind, they have skinny tires, they have short wheelbase, they have hard suspension. Yeah, I don't particularly like driving these. They are very stylish in some places, in some countries like the USA loves them. They like to import them for work vehicles or just style vehicles. I prefer the van versions. K-trucks are somewhere between 50,000 yen and 200,000 yen depending on the condition. I like to target somewhere around 100,000 yen for the best value for money ones, and it's pretty easy to buy decent ones for that price, I think. But you do have to be a little bit risk adverse able to take on a little bit more risk with one of these because they're very much low-end cars. They were very cheap when they were new cars. I think even brand new ones are just over $10,000 now, or maybe just under $10,000. We sell so many of them that it's just like, I don't know. I don't find anything interesting about them. They don't.
Would you like another car then?
Yeah.
I've got a choice for you. Would you like a Canada legal RX-7 Spirit R or a Savannah RX-7?
Which the Savannah RX-7 is an FC.
SA22C.
Oh, 22. Let's look at that one.
JU Mie 1179.
Good pronunciation, Mike.
I'm learning.
You're really improving. Pretty soon we're gonna give you your own desk instead of the
closet.
I take the Savannah SA22C, says Flavian, who owns one of these. Here's the question, Flavian. Is this one better than yours or not as good as yours?
Unknown mileage.
Has an interesting front bumper. I don't really want to talk about this because Flavian knows everything about it, and I just don't want to be wrong. This one doesn't look. It looks like a non-turbo 12A engine, so I would take Flavian's because his is turbo in it. Auction grade 3, interior C, exterior C, unknown mileage on it. Still has current registration. You can see the plates on it. I think these are great cars. I think that they look so ubiquitously 80s, but at the same time, not like the super angular 80s. But if you look in the interior, dashboard, everything, it just makes me smile. Everything is great. And cars these days, they feel like they're made out of melted down milk cartons. And I feel like you can't have a good high quality car anymore that's a cheap sports car in the way that you used to be able to. Especially during the 70s and 80s. And for them to go all out with a rotary engine is very cool that Mazda did that. Even if it's not the ideal kind of engine, it is special. And I think specialness is one of the best things to shoot for if you're a car manufacturer and a car enthusiast. So body looks to be pretty good. We have a U2 dent over here. Rear seats have been removed. I didn't even know these came with rear seats. Various scratches, dents, and paint is uneven. Trim and dash and inner panel come up. So like warpage of those parts. Interior is dirty and worn. AC doesn't work. Aftermarket wheels. Full repaint, including paint wave. Underside has surface rust, corrosion, and a cracked part. That would be probably a concern that would need to be repaired before registering. Right front inner panel, small deformation. What does this say? Okay, so it used to run a mechanical fan off of the engine, and that has been converted to an electric fan. And I suppose that the reason for that is because the fan has like geez, what's the word for this? I haven't thought about it in too long. What's the word for the fan thing?
Gonna need more.
The fan thing. Come on, Mike. Tell me.
The blades? Or
No, so the fan bolts onto the water pump. Fan clutch, thank you, John Clark. You the man. Yeah, so the fan clutch is probably out of stock, and this is something that when it's cold, it's very tight and it can't move. But then when it heats up, when the engine heats up and the fan clutch heats up, then it spins more freely. And what this does is when the engine is cold, it gives a constant amount of air, but then when the engine is warm and you stop the engine, the fan can keep going out when you're just sitting there idling at the stoplight.
That's clever.
That's clever.
I like it.
But I think that you probably have good luck finding a part like that if it was broken in this car. They seize, says Flavian. Mr. I know everything about every car. You have to be careful, Flavian, though, because if you know everything, you're going to annoy a lot of people. Nobody likes a know-it-all, even if they do know everything. All JDM SA22C have rear seats. Okay, Mr. Know-it-all. How about the how about the U.S. ones?
Bombs.
Were the U.S. ones available in both? I kind of feel like the US ones were only 2-seaters, because that was a popular thing for Japanese manufacturers to do when US people made fun of the lack of rear seats in 70s and 80s cars. But I don't know. They don't have rear seats. Okay, there you go. Thank you. And I'm sorry I called you a Mr. Know-It-All. I hope you're not upset with me. How are we doing for time? We got 10 more minutes, so you guys can send in your super chats now, because we haven't received any today. Okay.
Sorry,
I'm just looking over this as well. We haven't been doing too many questions, so... Anyone have a good question for me? Have you seen any 2003 Accord wagons for sale at auction recently? Yeah, they're pretty common and really easy to buy. They only cost $500 to $1,000 and often in good condition. Not always. How many miles before K-Truck isn't worth touching? I don't know. I don't really know, because a lot of the ones that I see have unknown mileage in them, so I don't know how much the mileage is. I would, like, if I were buying one for myself, I would target somewhere around 100,000 yen, maybe a little bit less than that.
Someone sent an Evo which is almost cut in half.
Okay.
Oh, you want to see it?
Yep.
Mirai 80013. An example of what not to buy, perhaps? The interior photo is my favorite. That's just a disclaimer.
Okay. So, how long do you have to buff in order to buff this one out? Yeah. That's a really serious accident in Japan. Typically, accidents in Japan are much lower speed than in other countries because the roads here are so much tighter than what I'm used to in Canada or the USA. And so, like, death in a car accident is very uncommon here in comparison. And this looks like a really serious accident. Both sides got hit pretty bad, hey? Wow. I wonder what happened. It definitely looks like another car hit this side T-bone style, and then the car went flying into something else. And a lot of other things, too. Look, it's sticking its tongue out. I'm still alive.
Yeah. You can't kill an Evo.
Oh gosh. I don't want to look at that. Let's pick a different car.
Yeah. There is a cappuccino.
Sure, we'll talk about cappuccinos because I can't sell mine.
85055. And this goes into Bill Courtney's question. He's wondering if tall people fit.
How tall is tall people?
I guess maybe people over 6 feet.
There's a big ouchie on the back bumper.
Yikes.
And a dealer plate. Ooh. Can I read that? Cappuccinos. I think cappuccinos are great. Great cars. I think that there is a lot of garbage, and this is stressing me out because most of the ones that are sent to the USA are lower grade, cheaper ones because people aren't really willing to spend the money for a higher grade cappuccino. The price in the US, it seems like your target price for bringing it in and profiting is somewhere between $6,000 and $10,000. And if you've got one that's above that, then it's very close to impossible to sell it unless you get the person who wants the perfect cappuccino. And then most cappuccinos in Japan sell for, within that range, but they're not really in that good of condition. And I'd say that most of the people trying to sell them for profit in the USA are targeting the ones that cost about $2,000 at auction, whereas I think maybe average prices are probably around $4,000. 400,000 or average price for what I would consider one in decent condition. You have to be careful with the odometers on them because up until 1992 they were 5 digits, and then in the middle of 1992 they changed to 6 digits. A lot of them that are brought into the USA are unknown mileage cars like this one, but are sold as if they are real mileage cars. Not in this case. You probably wouldn't be able to get away with a car in this condition and say it has 1,000 kilometers on it. But what you'll typically see is a car with 150,000 kilometers, and it rolls over at 100,000, so it shows in the odometer 50,000, and then people say, oh, it's an authentic 50,000 kilometer car. Or they don't even mention anything about that. They'll just say 50,000 kilometers. And then somebody who has one with 150,000 kilometers that they bought for roughly the same amount of money, nobody's going to be interested in looking at that one because it looks like it's higher mileage. This one looks pretty bad. This is one of the ones, like the ones that go to the USA. Big scratches, big dents all the way around, paint cracks up here, paint cracks over here, large dent, and rear bumper paint peeling, A3 and misaligned. You can kind of see that there. But fun car, 660cc turbocharged engine, rear-wheel drive. The rear-wheel drive makes it possible for fun drifto style driving. It's a removable hardtop, and it's fun because you can do it T-tops style if you like your 80s cars, or you can remove it all, so you can pretend like you have a Targa 911, or you can rotate this down into the back, and that doesn't take up any of your trunk room because it kind of goes in between the trunk and the cabin, and then you get a full convertible. So all around kind of cool car, quirky looking, but because it's so small, this is like very close to the same size as the original Mini, and because it's so small, it looks very strange when it's actually on the road. And I think this one will probably sell for $1,200 US dollars to $1,800 US dollars, approximately.
Oh, there's a super chat.
Woo! Super chat. Some car wash money for the Honda Civic Turbo.
Oh,
Woo! Yes! If we washed that car right now, though, it would fall apart. The only thing that's holding it together is the dirt and the crustiness of the rust. However, yesterday, and here's an update about it. Thank you very much for sending that in, by the way. It absolutely does help. And, oh, I was thinking about this. So, I don't know how to put this, because this would be an announcement, I guess. But I was thinking about this, and I'm still not sure if I want to do it. But if there would be enough demand for it, then I think that I will. So, all throughout my high school and even after that, my hobby was drawing pictures, and I especially like to draw pictures of cars. And I don't usually do it that often anymore. I think it would be very cool for me to draw a picture of the Honda City Turbo as kind of like a charity thing, and then sell those pictures as t-shirts if you were interested in buying t-shirts with a Honda City Turbo, with something like Save the Honda City Turbo, or I helped support the Honda City Turbo, because in its current condition, the amount of money we have to put into it in order to make it into a reasonable condition car is far more than what it would cost to actually buy a good condition car. So I'm kind of stuck between two decisions here. I either overspend on that car, which is sad, or I leave the car, which is also sad, and I don't know which way to go. And so if I did have some of that fat t-shirt money from people who are supporting the car, you can get a cool t-shirt, and the car can actually get done, because we've had it for over a year now, and basically nothing has happened except I checked the engine to make sure it wasn't seized, and found out, or didn't even find out what all the problems are on it. But yeah, I would be interested to know what people's ideas are on that. Just looking at the chat here. Do exporters show you any documentation for prices they paid for the vehicle you pick up? I would say most exporters don't, because it's very common for exporters to steal money. If they buy a car from an auction like MyRive, it'll show you the final price in here. I think that we actually have some in here that have the final price. Yeah, like this one. It shows the final price. So you can look it up yourself. But USS auctions don't show their prices, and I think LAA auctions don't show their prices, and any negotiated sold car doesn't show the prices. And so it's a very common thing for your exporter to say you bought a car for this price, but then actually buy the car for this price, and then the difference between the two becomes fat profits that allow those companies to make so much more money than we do. And so this really bothers me, because we obviously don't do that, and as a company we will send you in the auction invoice if you're interested. Like if you're like, I don't know if I really sold for that, well, first off, most of our customers trust us, and so we don't really have to worry about that too much. But we have a policy that if you ask for it, we'll send you in a copy of the actual invoice from the venue that we purchased the vehicle from. Will be edited to remove any of our personal information on that, because on a technical level, some of the auctions may consider that to be grounds for against their rules of business or whatever. So we would just remove everything that would link it back to us, or something that we don't necessarily want our customers to know, but the price would definitely be visible. We can also do this for inland transport in Japan, or for ocean freight, which are other very commonly marked up things. It's very, very common for the cost of the car to move from the auction to the port to be marked up. So typically it's like 3,000 yen. And I know most exporters for that would charge 10,000 yen, and then they get a free 7,000 yen. And we're selling, between 30 to 40 cars a month. That 7,000 yen is several $1,000s of extra profit that they get basically for fleecing their customers. And it annoys me to no end, because, well, I guess I don't have to explain why. Other customers are cheating and have a better life because of it. Anyways, yeah, we got 0 minutes left. We're going to end it here. Yeah, let me know in the chat at the end here if you would be interested in possibly picking up a shirt with my artwork on it, assuming that the artwork is as good as I think that it is. I don't know. I haven't drawn pictures in a while, but save the Honda City style t-shirt to raise money.
That'd be cool.
I don't know. It's something I've been thinking about.
What if you did like a little project for Save the Honda City, and each step of the way you could have like, so it starts off looking really badly, and that's like the first t-shirt. Then like the money raised goes to the build, and then t-shirt gets a little bit better, and then the last one is like finished product.
That is a good idea. It sounds like it takes a lot of time though.
I don't know. It's on you to draw super sweet art for the shirts.
That's one thing I have troubles with. So drawing, is something that is really relaxing and really good to do, and I would spend hours on it when I was younger, but now I have so many things to do that when I take any time to do something that is not actual work, I always feel so anxious, and I think that this anxiety prevents me from relaxing to the point where I can get back in the game.
Yeah, and just free. What is it? Free hand, free draw, free flow?
Not now, Firefox. Thanks, Dino. Not now. It's funny. I had to shut down that not now thing right before the stream. They're persistent, those Firefox people. We literally only use Firefox for this stream because we use Chrome otherwise. We just don't want to type in here like, I don't know, like JSpec and then have Japanese adult videos by accident, because I don't know what all of the staff in here are looking at when I'm not around.
Yeah. Actually, someone put a good point about John Clark said, what about
$100 for autographed topless Polaroid of Mike?
You will regret that purchase very quickly.
You got to make sure that you get them while they're drinking. Anyways, I'm sorry, what did you say?
Getting Sarah to draw. I don't know if the style would be different.
My daughter's also really into art, and actually we did a lot of art when she was really young, and I kind of didn't push her into it, but I love drawing, and then I would always want to draw with her as a fun activity to do, and now she loves drawing. She's gotten better than me already in drawing certain things, and so she likes to draw anime things, and we have thought also about doing a collab between me and her, where I draw the cars, and then she draws like the owners of the hypothetical cars.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, and I think that would be really cool. But and I've talked to her. She said that she would be down with that. But
finding the time to do it, I guess.
Also, she's like me as well. If she knows she has to do it, it becomes homework like, and then she probably will never finish. So I don't know if I want to do that. $100 for not.
That's a better purchase.
Okay, we're over time here. I'm going to have to cut it short, everybody. So we'll say our goodbyes now. I'll see you again next week. One person said thank you for coming back every week, and I wanted to say thank you for saying thank you for us, because we like to do this I like to, I personally really like to make sure that I get good communication with people, and you get to see what we are like as human beings, because most of the business that we do is through email, and it's, who is that person on the other side? Can I trust them? Are they a real person? That sort of thing. So I think this is a really good way to kind of show what we are like as people. Anyways, thanks everybody. It was nice to see you all. Take care. Bye for now. Please do not send us $100 without asking first, because you will not get a free naked or topless picture of a mic. That is unfortunately against the rules here. I could get in a lot of trouble for allowing for something like that. Okay, bye everybody. Thank you very much for coming.